Back in my day, the YA was so good. Hello fellow book nerds, this is Gabby and welcome to another vlog where I look like this and you are going on a journey with me to read some books. This is a very fun one. So this is a 24-hour Hunger Games series readathon or just marathon vlog. I'm doing this by myself, so it's really not a readathon. And I'm aiming to read all 3 books from the Hunger Games series today and tomorrow, so over 48 hours. I mean, I'm gonna be sleeping because I value my sleep too much not to do it. On my Goodreads, it says I added on 2015, but that's not when I first read them, I don't think. So they came out in 2008 or 9, so it's been 10 years. I have the very hated editions that I really liked, so I got them. Don't judge me too much. So we have Hunger Games, Catching Fire, and Mockingjay. We have 48 hours. Okay, I am halfway through the first book and so far what's happened, obviously Katniss was was chosen and Katniss volunteered. They had their all training and they already entered the arena, and right now we're at the scene where Katniss is gonna drop a bunch of bees on the tributes, including Peta. See, I don't really know what to say because I feel like, despite the fact that I haven't read this in years, I remember it very well, and I'm really surprised how well I remember this, because I swear to God there are books that I read last month that I could not tell you the general plot of. And yes, I've read this probably multiple times and I've watched the movies multiple times, but I'm still surprised how well I remember it. I'm just realizing how faithful the movie is as well, because so far there's nothing that's happened in a movie that hasn't happened in a book, and vice versa from what I remember. Because what should I talk about? Okay, maybe the characters. I mean, everyone knows them. I am Team Peta always and forever. I don't like Gale. I feel like so far, to be fair, I'm not feeling that burning hatred I normally have for him, although she said several times she has no romantic feelings for him, and that's honestly the theme of the book. She's confused a lot of the time, and I don't think she really... I mean, obviously I'm Team Peta, but let's be honest, she probably should have ended up by herself, because by the end of it she's quite damaged and I don't think the romantic relationship's what she needs. But anyway, I digress. We're going to talk about that when the time comes. I really appreciate the writing in this book because it's quite simple, it's to the point, and it's easy to understand, but it's totally fitting because this is a really rough world with really rough people, and I feel like dressing it up into more ornate language or something like that would have been quite inappropriate, because it wouldn't have given us this realness and grittiness that we really get from the simple writing. And Katniss is just such a, I think, unique character, or maybe since her there's been more characters like her, but I feel like she was really different in her time. I mean, obviously we're going to talk about the ending when I actually get to the last book, but I remember reading the last book and just feeling, I don't know, just a bit hopeless, but in a good fitting way. These books aren't like nice and candy and happy. They talk about some real power dynamics issues and discuss class and discuss what it takes for people to finally say no. And Katniss is just such an embodiment of her world, and I appreciate that. I think she is so focused on just staying alive and keeping her family alive on her duty, which is so appropriate. She's not there to fawn over guys, she's not there to look pretty, she's not there to please everyone, she's there to survive. Even if she's not likable, she is such a good character. Secondly, Peta. I've always loved Peta, I always will love Peta. I think he is really smart in his own way, and yeah, he's just really smart, really clever, and really fast thinking as well. I really appreciate him. Otherwise, Haymitch, I love Haymitch. I think seeing his character and what winning would do to you, it's not some glamorous beginning, it's really an end. It's just so real. I know, you can't blame him. I don't blame him. Then Effie, I love Effie. I think she I think all the characters in this are just so well crafted, and they just make you feel like you understand their world better, because you have Katniss from the cold world, where all she can care about is survival, and that just shows you the kind of world she lives in. And then you have Peta, who has a little bit more leeway and stuff, so it shows you how they can be from the same place but really just have such different experiences. Then you have Haymitch, who shows you what the price of winning is, and that it's not all glamour and sunshine and rainbows from there. And then you have Effie, who is not a bad person. She is just been conditioned to believe what she's been told, because that's why she grew up. She grew up in a capital, which she never probably had to worry about putting food on the table. She never had to worry about dying. She never had to worry about her loved ones. I love inclusion of Effie being such a great character, because we grow to love her so much through the series. It just shows us that the capital people aren't evil. I mean, some are, sure, but not all of them. Some of them just so naive. Like, each character being a different part of the world and showing it so well. It's just so smart. I don't know. I really appreciate Hunger Games. I feel like, first of all, it did a lot for dystopian. It's not appreciated enough for the themes and the craft that comes into it, because really, I remember I don't know how they'll affect me now. So far I'm reading and really enjoying it, but I remember when I was younger and I was like the target audience for this, the power structures and the commentary on the humanity and all the things that I could link into it, reading it, I'm just floored, you know? Younger people need things like these to make them start thinking, because then you can look into if you like that kind of genre and learn more about politics and that kind of thing. I'm so interested to see her new prequel book, because I wonder where she go with it. I know that the fact that it's about President Snow, I mean, I wasn't thrilled. I mean, I wasn't even that thrilled to hear about a prequel, because, you know, sometimes you gotta just let it go. But then we learned about about President Snow, so I wasn't thrilled about that either, because as much as I think he's a very interesting villain, like, he's really, really good villain versus Katniss. So I guess it'll be interesting to see where he comes from. But I don't want it just a very typical, he was a poor boy with a broken heart so he became a villain kind of story. And I feel like Susan Collins has it in her to bring some very mature themes in and explore them. So I am kind of optimistic. I am really curious. I have 2.5 more books to go and only so many hours in a day, so. Rue just died, and people of District 11 gave Katniss the bread, and I forgot that happened. That's so sad and beautiful. I was just bragging how I remember everything about this, and I forgot that the reason that Katniss even goes to look for Peta is because they changed the rules. For some reason I forgot that, and I thought she just stumbled upon him, and I was even thinking to myself, that's very lucky and unlikely. But yeah, they changed the rules, so she went looking for him, and that's why they were like so convinced they can win together. For some reason in my head I was like, yeah, because they felt they could convince them with the berries, obviously, but I didn't realize that's because they changed the rule and then they changed it back. I'm an idiot. But it's nice to be surprised. I love Peta and Katniss as a couple, but the fact that every time something romantic happens, she just hears a voice of all the men telling her, good, good, now you're gonna get food. Makes it a bit creepy. I mean, I know this is not what she, well, I guess she does fall in love with him a little bit, just a little bit, but she's just like, we just kissed, and all she can think about is, yeah, how much likey. Oh, I've been reading all day, can you tell? Oh, you know that scene where Katniss thinks that Peter's dead because he ate the berries that Foxhole stole, and she just like loses it. I love that scene so much. And no, it's just like a precursor to the scene in the second book where he gets electrocuted and she starts freaking out because she thinks he's dead, and she's like can't breathe and like crying. I just love that so much. Like the like the character thinking, oh, I don't like you, I don't care about you, you could live or die, I don't give a damn. And the person actually gets hurt and they start freaking out and they lose their shit, and it's just like that's how the reader knows that they love each other. I love that. That's like my favorite scene slash tropes or whatever you would call that. I love that so much when that happens. It's just pure angst. It's gold. I love it. This book sucks. Katniss breaking Peter's heart is breaking my heart. I don't like it. Why is this so good? So it is exactly 7:00. I'm not even joking. And I just finished The Hunger Games. It is excellence in excellent. If you remember my Book Junkie Trials vlog, I found it really exhausting actually reading like 2 books in 2 days because I just felt, I don't know, it was a lot. I felt like it was a lot. I just finished this book and I feel like I need more. I just need to keep reading and I'm so happy. And I just want to watch the movie so bad, but I don't want to waste time because I need to read the books. I think they're so well written. The characters are so compelling and so complicated because when you think about it, Katniss is quite a complex character. She herself doesn't really know her motivations because she's so confused, but it's compelling about her, you know? And I think Peta's also a really good character and we really know what he's about. He's so mature and I just love them. But I gotta say, like, Katniss does not read 16, you know? I know she's been through a lot in her life, so she has like maturity above her age because she had to provide for her family since she was 11. But she reads like she's at least 18, I'd say. Like, she reads like an adult. And I'm not here claiming that 18-year-olds are adults because let's be honest, they're not really. I know I wasn't. But she reads like older than she is, not 16. But at the same time, like, she's wide beyond her age because of what she's been through, so I get it. That was so good. I enjoyed that so much. I don't know, there's just something magical about books you read when you were like younger, especially in your teen years, especially in your teen years. When I think about all the books I read when I was a teenager, I was so invested in so many stories. I could just stay up all night reading and I enjoyed it so much. And I still have a very deep love for reading, but there's just something really magical. Something really, really magical about books you read when you're a teenager. Even if they're like trashy Twilight love stories, okay? There's just something magical about them. They just don't make them how they used to. You know what I sound like? I sound like a music snob who's like, they don't make the music like they used to. The music that was in the back in my day, music was so much better. Back in my day, the YA was so good. Hi. This is probably weird to say, but I kind of love the dynamic of Katniss and President Snow. I don't know, it's amusing. It's just really good. It's not only funny, well, it's not really funny, but like, she was just like, they were having banter in front of people, so obviously fake banter, and she was like, oh, the fun we two have together, ha ha ha. They're just such good antagonists. Well, he's a good antagonist and she's a good protagonist, I guess. But I just really enjoyed the dynamic. I think I like that he's not underestimating her and he's not like, oh, this stupid girl. And I like that he's taking it seriously, and I like the whole let's be honest thing, so I like it. Gale just said, I love you. And Katniss, I knowed him. I'm sorry, but this boy's just so sad. Honestly, every time Gale fails, I'm a little bit happier to be alive. It's 11:30. I'm thinking I'm gonna read for another half an hour, but probably gonna say goodnight in the vlog. I am about 140-50 pages into Catching Fire. I really want to get to at least 200 so that I have the same amount of pages basically left for tomorrow. Hello and good morning. It is Sunday 10 p.m. I have been awake for a while, probably from 8:30, so I have been reading. So last night I got to page 230, which is exactly in the middle of Catching Fire, and right now I'm on page 296, so I'm about 70% in, and so much happened. Oh my god, so much happened. We're about to start the anime, which is when the Hunger Games starts. So Cinna just died, and I knew it was coming, so it wasn't like surprising, but it still broke my heart. Finnick is sad, but Cinna is even sadder. But at the same time, at least Cinna knew what he was doing, and he knew he'd pay for it, and he still went for it, and I respect that, okay? I'm gonna have some breakfast, gonna read a bit more, but I have a really good feeling about this. Hello! Alright, I finished Catching Fire. It is now 1 p.m. on Sunday. I finished Catching Fire, and I only have one more book to go. Never really liked the first half of the book where they're just chilling in District 12, because honestly my favorite part is Peta, and Peta's not very much like when she's in District, she's mostly with her family and Gale. So I enjoy the parts when they're actually in the games most. There was so much less games than I remembered, so it's only about this much that's actually games, and this much is just everything else, which I was surprised because I honestly love the games in the first book. I think the games are just so well explained. There's so much happening, there's so much strategy, but I guess because this was quite a different circumstance we're in. Love the inclusion of new characters. I think Finnick and Joanna and Beale and even Plutarch, I just love all of them. I think they're very good adjustments, and I like how in this series, in the first book we're introduced to a certain cast of characters. It's not a huge cast of characters, but we're introduced to them, and I like that there's a little bit of hints of future people to come. Like in the first book, Katniss refers to a girl who pretended to be super helpless and then won the Hunger Games this way, and then we find out it's Joanna and she's actually a character, and this has been a couple of times. She just mentions some people in passing in the first book, and then actually comes into play, and I really like that. I think that shows forethought, and also there was not too many characters introduced in the first book to not care. I think that was done so well, and I know, for example, even President Snow, he's a character in the first book, but we don't even hear him speak really, and he's just such a huge presence in this one. I just really love how with the introduction of people like Finnick and Joanna, we really learn with Katniss not to judge people, because Katniss is really judgmental. Like, Katniss is so judgmental. She just has really snappy judgments, and she just based all of her opinions on this one thing, and I think it's because, like, you know, she's had to hand her whole life, she had to be really quick in making judgments, all of that, I get that, but she is very snappy. So I like that we now get characters that she was wrong about, and she understands that too and grows a little bit. Maybe she'll be a little bit less judgmental in the future. I mean, let's not get hopeful, but you know. My favorite scene happened where she thinks he's dead and she's all freaking out. I remember her freaking out more. I was just in the part of the book where she sings The Hanging Tree, and the audiobook was a pretty shitty melody, so I was like, you know what, let me just see that movie scene. That scene's so good. And then how it transitions to people fighting and the music. That song is just like art. Now, but you know what? I really don't like Gale. And I know I've said it multiple times, and this has been my stance for years. And then I became like, oh, maybe I'm a bit too harsh on him. He seems really nice. I mean, he's not my OTP, whatever. I don't care about him. But he's not evil or anything. And he's not evil, but like, I don't like him. He's just so jealous. He was even like, blah blah blah, something, and then he's like, Fennec, I was starting to worry he had his eyes on you, but this seems to be back on track now. Like, leave Fennec alone and don't drag him into your mess, okay? Katniss is allowed to have friends that aren't you douchebag, okay? He's enjoying the chase too much. Not the chase of Katniss, no. The chase of the humans he's trying to kill. I feel like there's something very sadistic about him, and he's like, we're right, they're wrong, they can't be good. He was like, why are you so nice to your prep team? Because it's impossible for him to imagine that they can be nice people, and he's just so closed-minded, and I just don't like him. I'm happy I know how this ends, because I just want him in his stupid talk shows or whatever he's doing, away from Katniss, because he cannot handle it, okay? He can't. Also, I'm so sad. Peta was trying to kill Katniss, and it's... This always breaks me. I don't know, I'm enjoying this book a lot less than the other ones, I think, because first of all, I'm tired from reading. Second of all, I feel like I enjoy the strategies on smaller scale, as in like I really enjoyed Katniss trying to get through the Hunger Games, and I really enjoyed her plotting and her trying to figure out what everyone's doing, blah blah blah. But on the big scale, in terms of battles, I just don't really care. I feel like I always get in this is my second 48-hour readathon, and I get into this funk at the end of the day because I'm like, oh no, I have to finish this really quickly. Guess who finished Mockingjay? It wasn't even 10 when I finished it, so I'm just gonna say it was an immense success because I read the 3 books very quickly, although I was a bit tired reading this one. But yeah, I finished Mockingjay, and I did like it a bit less than the other ones, I guess. Although I do really like the themes in Mockingjay and how it brought the conclusion to the series. I think that was really well executed. I don't think I would want a different book. It's just I like reading about a certain thing, and that certain thing was the Hunger Games, and this was like a completely different thing to me. I think the series as a whole is just so good. It's so good, and I'm really glad it made a splash that it did when it came out. And then I feel like now maybe we dismissed it a little bit because it's like an older YA, but it's still so good. It talks about so many themes of like leadership and society and humans and emotions and priorities. It just, I don't know, it's just a lot of really amazing themes in Hunger Games. I remember when I read the conclusion for the first time, I just had this feeling like of this enormous detachment that Katniss was feeling. When I think about the epilogue, the first time I read it, I just remember I thought she was just so lifeless and not feeling, because I was like, wow, she didn't even bother to use the names of her children. She just says the girl and the boy. But this time reading it around, I didn't really see it that way. I mean, she's a bit removed, but I just saw it as her finding the peace and happiness. So I read that a little bit different, but I still really appreciate how Katniss never really recovered, and she was a different person from when she started, and it was a big theme in the book as well. Like, we've changed now, everyone's changed, there's no going back, this is who we are now. A lot of YA books show, or fantasy books especially, it's a powerful way for protagonists to go through something really exciting because there's battles and there's strategy, and then sometimes we are shown the price of that. But I think Hunger Games does it exceptionally well. Katniss never recovered. She was always gonna be marked by what happened to her, and I like that she didn't just turn around and have a normal life that was like filled with happiness and nothing bad happening But it shows that she will always have the nightmares, she will always be scared about what happened, and so much shit happened to her as well. And same goes for everyone else. And I think that's really important to show young readers as well. I didn't remember that they paid so little attention to Finnick's death. For me, I remember reading it and being just like completely destroyed, because I love Finnick. I just think he's such a great character, and just the fact that he got with Annie finally after so many freaking years, and they just got their happiness, and it was taken away so fast. And people like on the internet, I've read like, oh, Finnick's death was so pointless, and I was like, oh yeah, but he sacrificed himself. But now I read it, not really. I mean, he did sacrifice himself, I'm not taking that away, but it's just so little attention was paid to it. I feel like we skimmed over that so much. Katniss barely even grieved for him, at least in the beginning, and she was like, yeah, I need to put that away. But still, maybe like, girl, when you're just sitting in your little cellar, maybe like have one tear for Finnick. Like, he was your rock. I was always wondering about the voting that happens in the last book, and they vote whether the Hunger Games should like happen one more time with the capital children, or if we should just abandon that. And then they vote, and when Catherine votes yes, does she already think that she's gonna kill President Kane? And is that why she votes yes, to kind of placate her, because she knows it's never gonna happen? We never actually find out. I assume it doesn't happen after her death, because it was her idea and her like thing she wanted to do. So, and like her thing she wanted to do. So I assume it didn't happen afterwards. But I never knew if Catherine said yes because she just wanted to do a bit diversion and seem very cooperative, or if she actually was cool with that happening. Because if she was cool with that happening, that doesn't sit right with me. Not on the existential level, but I mean more like in terms of who Katniss is as a character. But that's it for my 48 hours reading vlog. Anyway, I just wanted to say thank you for watching. I really hope you enjoyed. If you did, if you could leave a like and maybe a comment, tell me if you like Hunger Games, what was your favorite book, what was your favorite moment, what was your favorite character, and subscribe if you haven't already. I would really appreciate that. But I just hope you guys have a good day or evening or whatever time I post this, and I'll talk to you in my next video. Bye!